Join me right now on Kumite Radio is Jordan Griffin. He'll make his promotional debut on December 15th at UFC on Fox 31 versus Dan Ige in the featherweight division in Milwaukee. What's going on, Jordan?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, good, man. Let's first start off with Rufus Sport in Milwaukee. What is the story behind how you ended up at that super camp?
I uh I I mean I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I went to Pius XI with Sergio Pettis, and I don't know, I kind of just like everything just kind of fell into place. So I was on the wrestling team with Sergio, and then I had kind of heard about MMA actually from someone else, not even Sergio, not even Rufus Sport. So I kind of fell into MMA through someone else, and then Sergio's like our Duke had contacted my coach at the time because he wanted me to spar Anthony when he was getting ready to fight Ben Henderson for the WEC title. So I was 18, and I think I was like 4-0. Kind of skip ahead a couple months. I was like 4-0, and I was 18 and amateur, and I went up there and I sparred, and I really liked it. And then eventually, I kind of found myself over at Rufus Sport full time.
That's some old school memories right there. The Showtime kick off the fence. What did you think when you saw that after you've been training with him?
Oh man, he practiced it. I mean, he almost took my head off the first time he tried it on me. He literally like grazed my nose, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I had no clue what he was doing. So it's pretty cool.
Definitely, man. You have had a long journey. After some amateur fights, you made your pro debut in 2011. However, you had a rocky start to your career, dropping your first two fights. What kept you pushing forward in that time?
I always knew that I always felt that I was just better. It sounds. I don't mean to sound like cocky or anything. I always just, you know what you know you know what to expect from yourself. You know what I mean? And I just felt like I needed to change things up and I needed help, but I knew physically that I could do really well in this sport, and I just knew that I just needed the right people to help me, and I needed to be a smarter fighter. And I think that's really what it was. I've always been tough. I've always, everywhere I go, man, you're tough, man. You're crazy, man. It's cool watching you fight. And the one thing I've noticed is since being an amateur, at least, I don't take a whole lot of damage because I don't get hit because I've slowly but surely been working on my fighter IQ, and then also it gives me something to work on after I'm done fighting. I can teach other people, and so I'm really excited about that as well. But I want to fight as long as possible too. So,
How
but
big
yeah.
of a part of your, arsenal is your fighter IQ?
A large part of it. I mean, if you look at my fight, if you look at my record, I mean, I was behind, man. I had to dig myself out of a hole. So it's just like it, it's really gotten to one of those points where it's like you saw a couple decisions at the beginning. I only have 4 decisions out of my 17 wins, and then I was like, man, I have to either be an exciting fighter, or I have to finish everybody. And so you've slowly but surely seen that progression where I'm just finish, finish, finish. Nothing goes into the third round. Nothing goes too far into the second. It's always like first round or like 2 minutes in or a minute into the second, because I kind of figure out like, hey, this is what's going on, and I've gotten a lot better at kind of pinpointing just by myself. Like, okay, he's doing that. Drops his hands, boom, kick him in the head. Okay, now I'm gonna submit you. So I've gotten better at that stuff, and I'm happy to see the progression. So it's just time to make that next big step. Because I'm in the UFC, I'm fighting all the toughest dudes in the world, and I'm one of them. So
Fast forward, last summer, season two, Dana White, Tuesday Night Contender Series, week 7. You went in, you took the contract with a first round submission win over Maurice Mitchell. You had some adversity in that fight. What did you think of your performance?
I'm happy I won. I'm happy I finished. You know what I mean? And I think just my mindset going into it is I'm gonna finish you no matter what. You know what I mean? Like I knocked his mouthpiece out of his mouth, and I was like, yeah, you don't want these fucking hands. You know what I mean? And then I noticed I went on the ground with him, and I was like, he's not really that strong. I was like, oh, you don't want it down here either. he caught me with that straight, and my vision split, so I saw two of them, and I just remember being like, "Damn, like how are we gonna get out of this one?" So I was like, "Shit, well, I'm just gonna swing at both you, you know." So I swung at one of them, and I missed, and then when I hit, it kind of guided him into the other punch, and he dropped right away, and I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta get down there." And but yeah, no, I think just the mindset, you know what I mean? Like my mindset is I want to go in there and I want to finish you. And if you have a positive mindset like that, it's hard to stop anybody. You know what I mean? So maybe, you know, in the UFC, I feel like everybody's going to have that mindset. So we'll just see who wants it more, you know, as my career, you know, continues to progress. So.
The environment in Las Vegas is very different from any other venue. You got Dana White, Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard. They're sitting right there, cage side. And your teammate, Paul Felder, is commentating. How are the nerves going into that fight?
Hey, it was awesome. I didn't even notice. Like, I don't really pay much attention to like the crowd when I fought. Like, I fought, you know, King of the Cage, and I fought on a bunch fought on TV and fought other places. And like, I fought places where people were booing me. I went into people's hometowns and beat the shit out of their hometown heroes, and they're booing me, and I don't give a fuck. Give me my check. Like, I'm going home, you know. So like in my head, I was like, man, this is awesome. And I was like, this is my UFC debut. You know what I mean? And I just literally thought, like, what would you do in your UFC debut? I was like, this is my UFC debut. Dana White and all the important dudes are right there. This is my UFC debut. So, and it was awesome to have my teammates and stuff there support me as well. So, people ask me all the time, I wasn't nervous, to be honest. I was just like, this is just treat it like every other fight. So that's what I did. And I went out and I performed.
Yeah, I think that's such an important factor in a lot of fighters is they make something out bigger than it's supposed to be. And I think the
Yeah.
fighters that allow themselves to relax and not, overblow things perform the best in the biggest situations.
Exactly. You know what? I think I like to. I mean, I don't really tell too many people this stuff. I don't really like giving out advice to anybody. You know what I mean? But I think as far as like my personal, you know, how I've mentally been able to stay in there. I was 1-3, and now I'm 17-5. I lost 2 times in the last like 5 years or whatever. Is I always think about who I want to be. You know what I mean? And it just makes things so much easier. Why would I be stressed out about somebody that I know I'm going to be? In my head, I was always going to be in the UFC no matter what, and I can truthfully, honestly say that. So why would I be stressed out if I'm fighting in front of Dana White, even though it's my first fight or not? It's just, this is the life. You know, I worked so hard for this life, so why would I be stressed out about it?
You mentioned earlier about, in the fight, you got hit in the eye, you had double vision. You got checked when you got checked out by the doctors afterwards. What did the doc tell you?
They didn't really say anything. They just said they wanted me to get checked. Checked when I got back home. So I went back. I got checked. I fractured a bone around my orbital or whatever. I fractured something. It separates. It's like a paper thin bone that separates my sinuses and my eye socket. So there is no bone there, or it's fractured. It's kind of split off. So they told me that it's not really worth going in and getting surgery on it. Just leave it. And I was like, okay, cool. So my eye, I can still see out of it. They were like, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, I can still see. So they were like, yeah, just let it heal naturally. And I mean, I've never broken a bone in my life. So it's the fact that I was kind of surprised I broke something inside of my head. He hit me hard as shit, though. I was like, damn. Never been hit that hard with small gloves. But I've been, I don't know. I get hit hard all the time by Anthony and Paul Felder with big gloves, So, I don't know.
How did that alter your training regimen in that time?
Oh, man, I couldn't lift, and I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't do anything. So I just kind of hung out. I'm not going to lie. I ate a lot of food. I went on runs. I ran around a lot. I did a lot of like body weight training, so I didn't really lift any heavy weights. I couldn't sneeze for like a really long time. So if I had to sneeze, I was like, ah. But so as far as training, I mean, I just kept it pretty relaxed. And then as soon as they cleared me, that's when I came back and I was like, okay, I'm ready, you know. And I was a little hesitant at first when I sparred, like, that first time. But I just think me naturally, like, if you hit me, like, I'm just ready to swing off. So, I got tagged up a couple times. And I was like, okay, I'm here, you know. And now I don't know, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just excited to be on to the next, you know, have this next fight. I'm not fighting. I'm fighting for the bonuses. I want the win. I want the bonus. So I'm coming out there to bring it. And then I want to come back and I want to fight in Australia in February. That's kind of the plan. I've never been anywhere outside the country. Is Australia? Oh my God. I'm going to ask this. Is Australia part of the U.S.? No, Australia is a different.
Yeah.
No?
It's different.
Oh man. It's different. Okay. There you go. Okay. I was on track. Oh man, that's how you know I haven't been anywhere. That's like
Well, at least they speak English, you know.
yeah, that's nice. They got big ass spiders and kangaroos and stuff. That'd be cool to go see. So
yeah, they got everything that could kill you outside.
Right? Hey, as long as there's something separating me and the killer spiders, I'm good. Hey, Pepper. Okay, sorry.
All right, now UFC on Fox 31. You're signed to fight Dan Ige. When you were offered him for your debut, what were your initial thoughts?
I didn't really know who he was. I looked him up, and he's talented. He's well rounded. I mean, but I also look at it too. I mean, he fought a couple other guys that are pretty good. Let me see if I can get this down over here. There you go. He fought a couple other guys that are pretty good, and I mean, he's talented. I never want to underestimate anybody. I just go out there and I'll treat him like the rest, you know, which is just give him the business. So, but he's a black belt jiu-jitsu, black belt in judo. He's 9-2, which means he knows, you know, he's lost before, so it can happen again. And I don't know, it'll be a good fight. The one thing I really do like about him, though, I love it, is like I go in there and I usually fight dudes and I start swinging and they all back up. He doesn't back up, and I heard he's Hawaiian. And I'm like, dude, those Hawaiian dudes, they like to throw down. But I'm Native American, Mexican, and black, dude, man. We wherever we go, man, we're throwing down. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. So I'm like, man, like, this is going to be great, because if he stands in front of me, I'm going to fucking dish it to him. So it's going to be, like, I'm really excited about that, actually. And my coaches are, like, you know, they're telling me different stuff. And I don't know. It's nice. Like, I'm not really afraid of his ground. I'm not really afraid of anything that he has. Like, there's nothing. He can't really threaten me with anything. So nothing that I haven't seen already, you know. So I'm not going to let a belt color, like, dictate the fight. Like, I don't care. You know, we're not wearing belts in there. So
Yeah. That's an interesting thing about breaking down fighters. A lot of people, they want to kind of mention, like, oh, this person's a black belt in this and a black belt in that. But then when you really look at it and strip it down, when you enter the cage, those belts don't really come into effect at all, right?
yeah, I mean, if I take that stuff away from you, if I take that away from him, what's he gonna do? You know what I mean? If he realizes he can't take me down, and the thing is people are like, oh, well, Jordan's not really a wrestler. He's not, like, he's, you know, people say, you know, I'm a striker, I have good hands, but then they see I got 4 submissions in my last. I got 8 submissions in all. And so it's just kind of like, I don't think a lot of guys really know how to come at me. And that's what I like. I mean, my career may have taken a little bit longer. It may have taken me a little bit longer to get here. But as far as how well-rounded I am compared to the rest of the division, to be honest, I'm probably the most well-rounded fighter coming into the UFC right now. That is in the UFC. As far as in the featherweight division. So it's going to be exciting.
As part of your preparations for UFC Milwaukee, I saw that you started working with Race Start Training. Why did you feel the need to add them to your team?
I've known Antoinette Semklo for some years now. So, like, let's see. Yeah, I've known Antoinette Semklo for some years now, and she's just an all-around, she's a good trainer, and I trust her. I mean, when you're working with somebody on your physical fitness, like, you want somebody that you completely trust, and I trust she explains a lot. She explains everything to me. She breaks everything down. She's actually one of the first. I used to be a trainer, and she's one of the trainers one of the first trainers who trained me. So she hit me up probably about 4 years ago and was like, "Hey Jordan, do you want a job?" So I had went and I worked at Raystart, and then it kind of turned into things kept picking up with fighting, and it turned into her training me. And the thing I like about her is like I've tried working with other people, and but she does like strength and conditioning, but she works on a lot of mobility. Like, you see a lot of guys lifting heavy, and then they're super tight and they don't have range of motion. She's still focusing on a lot of that stuff, and that's what I love about, Raystart. And then, as far as like if I ever have any injuries or anything like that, I just tell her, and we're able to kind of alter the workout, and it's still beneficial. So yeah, I like it. I really like working with her.
You mentioned earlier that you want to go out there and get a performance bonus. And I read somewhere about you've been having dreams of robbing banks. Maybe that's like the universe telling you secretly that you're going to win a bonus. What do you think?
Maybe, man. I've been having some crazy dreams. I woke up and I was like, damn. I woke up and I like rolled out of bed and I was like, I gotta go get the money. And then I like looked around and I was like, that wasn't real. I was like, damn. I was like, this is crazy. Like the dreams are so real, But yeah, I don't know, man. I think maybe it's telling me I have money coming. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe you're right.
We will see. December 15th, UFC on Fox 31. Jordan Griffin will make his promotional debut in his hometown of Milwaukee. Thank you, Jordan, for your time, and good luck on your fight, man.
Awesome. Thank you for reaching out.